Q&A going on, but I'm at home. Hopefully the stream is okay because it's snowing, and I was actually thinking about driving the Hellcat down to actually downtown in the snow, but then I just decided to stay home. I was already doing stuff earlier today. I was powder coating some random miscellaneous parts here and there, but I also modified the powder coat oven. But after I did that, I was like, well, maybe I should just kind of relax. I still need to do laundry and I need to get some stuff ready for tomorrow, as long as the body shop guy is going, because it is going to snow quite a bit tonight. I'm not sure if he's going to go to the shop or not. So we'll see what happens, but I do want to get some work done on the charger. And hopefully by the end of the week, I can get that thing in some high build primer, which I'm really shooting for, because if I could do that, then after I do that, I can make the roof, and I make the roof, I can just continue making progress on it. And I should have some suspension stuff coming in the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I have some adjustable arms coming for a track hawk, and once I get those, I can finalize the subframes and pretty much just continue this project. I really want to get the subframes done so I could have the engine, the tranny, and the transfer case and all that stuff bolted into the car. But yeah, I just can't wait. It's getting really really close. Each week it gets a little bit closer, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's snowing, and hopefully I can get to work on it tomorrow. Is one of the main deals. So let's see. Best way to mount a battery without drilling through the floor. Um, I mean, if you want to use, I guess you'd still have to drill to use rib nuts, but um, most likely you're gonna want to keep in the stock location, or you can find somewhere that has already drilled holes or has tapped holes where you can put, um, threaded bars in there, and then you can hold the battery down. But you definitely want to have the battery held down pretty well, or use or you could use like a lithium battery. They don't weigh very much, so the straps won't have to be crazy, because it won't be like a lead acid battery where it's very heavy. So that's also an option. Hello from Mexico. What's up, John? What's up, Vincent? I'm really digging your Magnum build. Thanks. Yeah, I can't wait till just the body is painted on it. It's gonna look crazy. I mean, I just can't wait to see it, where it just looks like something, and it has fresh coat of paint on it, and it's actually all one color, and it's nice and shiny and glossy, and I have all the drivetrain and everything on there, and the Trackhawk wheels will be, they'll be a good enough offset where I'll fill up the wide body fenders and everything. So unlike the Scat Pack wheels, which they are really skinny, that's to say the least, and I don't even have the flares on yet. Let's see. Hey Dave, how's the weather? It's snowing. It's not bad. I don't mind the cold. It's just I don't know. I just don't like driving around because so many people have just moved here this year. So I really don't feel like getting in an accident because somebody slides into one of my cars, which, you know, I'd rather just mitigate that. Hello from Jamaica. What's up, Andrew? Did you say snow coming? Did I hear you right? Yeah, it's snowing. Let's see. I don't know if it's been mentioned, but could you use the 300C mirrors for the Magnum charger build? So I'm not exactly sure. I've been looking at a few charger Hellcats, newer ones, 18 up, because I need the wiring harness, I need the modules, I need a key, I need a VIN number for that key. So if I take it down to the dealership, all the, the Uconnect and all that stuff will work. So the easiest way I found to resolve this issue is I'm most likely just going to buy another auction car. There's a few wrecked chargers. It look like they're coming up next month, which will actually work out pretty perfect because I need the interior, I need the wiring harness, I need all this miscellaneous stuff, and then they have mirrors on them. So also I need the mirrors off a car that has the collision avoidance stuff, or the lane assist, or whatever you want to call it, because it has all the features in the mirrors. Which if you get the mirrors that I have on there now are just base model mirrors, which they don't have all that stuff. They're power and heated, but they have that lane assist, they have the lights in there, they have heated mirrors, they have all kinds of crap in them. So most likely I'm just going to buy an auction car, get the mirrors off of it, and then I'll just have all the wiring and everything else that I need, which is really going to help out, because that's the biggest thing I've been really worrying about, is the whole having a VIN that matches the U-Connect, that matches, you know, the Hellcat engine, because at the end of the day, I don't think I could go to the dealership and just have them program me an ECU without a VIN on it. So, and I don't know if they would program me like if I bought a brand new ECU and didn't have a Hellcat VIN or any of that stuff, I don't think they'd just be like, yeah, we'll just make up a VIN or just put this VIN on there or whatever. So I think that's the best way. And that's most likely what I'm going to do. I mean, I'll probably, what I was planning anyway, I probably can get one for around like 30,000, maybe like 35,000. And then I could use the engine in the old Magnum, which, like I said before, actually I haven't released that video yet. So I still need to finish making that video. So put a Hellcat engine in the old Magnum, put a newer front end on it, paint it, make it look nice as well, and then have both of the Magnums. Maybe even give that Magnum away. I think I've talked about that recently, and just kind of go from there. So we'll see. A lot of stuff to think about, but I definitely need a newer charger for all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. And thanks for the answer, Dave. No problem. Dave, should I buy a Subaru Forester 2010? I'm in Canada. I mean, they're not too bad. Let's see. Good to see you tonight. I think we need Hellcat power old Nissan Pulsar. Just an idea. So if I did a Pulsar, I would probably have to build another SR20 VVL. That's what they need in them. They need to be all-wheel drive. They need VVLs. The VVLs are almost the best SR they made. I mean, they're like a Honda VTEC engine with a turbocharger from the factory. You can't beat it. So yeah, let's see. Looking forward to the fab work on the hatch. I really want to get the hatch done because I need to get the roof made. I need to get the hatch made so I can make the molds. So I have all the stuff coming. I'm going to make the molds after I make those pieces. And it didn't sound like a lot of people were a fan of the carbon composite roof and the carbon composite hatch, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. I definitely want to have the roof carbon, and I think the hatch needs to be carbon as well. So I'll probably just end up just doing it. So it's one of those things where I need to just make that stuff. And once I get it primed, I need to get the body primed, and then I could go ahead, make the roof, make the hatch, and then get that stuff all together. But I need to have the hatch made so I can make sure that everything's going to line up before I go and paint the body. Once the hatch and the roof's made, I can paint the body of the car, and then she'll be nice and shiny and glossy. I can't wait. Hit that like button. Thanks. Let's see. Great build. Keep up the good work. Hell yeah. Seen you ask Kevin Van Voris about the Demon. Has he reached out to you at all about buying it or fixing it? So I haven't. He said he commented on my comment on his video, and he said he would reach out to me. Haven't heard anything from him. At the end of the day, I'm not really too worried about it. I could buy it. If he doesn't end up fixing it, it's just going to end up going to the auction. So, I mean, I would rather buy it instead of it going to the auction. But it doesn't look like it's too. I watched his video and it seemed like they're pretty concerned about it being so damaged and all this stuff. But to me, what I just did to the charger is everything that you would have to just do to that one side. So you just have to pull the quarter panel off of it, pull the inner structure off of it, slap new inner structure on it. It would be 100% brand new. I have a door off of that Scat Pack Challenger. I have a bunch of other parts. I mean, it would be a very, very simple fix to me. But somebody that really doesn't know, it doesn't seem like I don't watch a lot of his videos. I'm not going to comment on his mechanical abilities, but from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like he's that deep into cars. It seems like, maybe he bolts some stuff on here and there and, does some things here and there, but heavy body work and, ripping the whole, cutting a whole car apart and putting it back together. I don't think that's in his wheelhouse. So, if he ever reaches out, I wouldn't mind helping him out. I wouldn't mind buying the car. It just depends, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not one of those things I'm too worried about. I just threw it out there. If you wanted, help or, wanted to sell the car, then I could, have another car that I really don't need. So we'll see what happens. Are you making a carbon fiber hood to match the roof and the hatch? So I have the aluminum Hellcat hood, which there's not really a reason to make a carbon fiber hood because the aluminum hood's already so light. Maybe eventually I'll make a carbon fiber hood, but if I end up doing a carbon fiber hood, I most likely am going to do carbon fiber quarter panels and stuff like that. So if I go carbon fiber hood, most likely I'm just going to throw carbon fiber at the whole car and make a whole carbon, body of the car. So we'll see what happens with that, but that probably won't be for a long time. I want to get the car 100% painted, 100% back together, running and driving, and so on. So let's see. The logistics of dealership protocols can be a pain. So I haven't even really, I probably should talk to a dealership to see if that's even a possibility before I go buy a whole nother car. But at the end of the day, I won't lose any money buying another Hellcat because I could use all the parts off of it. So it's one of those things, might as well just buy another parts car. I'm also looking, there's a few Trackhawks coming up. I really want to make a Trackhawk cart. So I may end up getting a Trackhawk there's a couple rolled ones and just turning it into like a cart, like an Ariel Atom or something. I think that'd be awesome. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's see. Can you hurry? I want to see the finished product. I mean, I want to see it as well. It just takes time. What's the benefits of VVL versus VCT? Isn't VCT the transmission? VVL is like a variable valve timing, but I don't know what is VCT. I thought VCT was like variable controlled transmission, but maybe it's timing. It's probably all the same stuff if it's referring to timing, but the carbon will look sick. So I don't think anybody actually realizes what I'm going to do for the carbon fibers. So the carbon fiber that I have chosen is a carbon fiber, and then it's a Kevlar, but it's a blue Kevlar. So once I put resin on it and cure it and then put clear coats over it, it's going to look, in the sun, it'll just look like, normal carbon fiber. But once the sun, or without sun, it's just going to look like normal carbon fiber. But once the sun hits it, that blue carbon is going to actually kind of be iridescent. So I think it'll definitely complement the car. So let's see, absolutely make everything you can from carbon fiber. It would be really nice. At the end of the day, I really wouldn't mind making the whole sides of the car out of carbon, because then I can make a whole mold and then have it one piece instead of a bunch of spliced together pieces of metal, which at the end of the day really does bother me, but it's the only way to be able to do it. So we'll see what happens. It might eventually happen, but it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be way later down the road. Maybe when I want to lighten the car up to run faster. I'm sure this thing's going to run like at least a 9-second in the quarter. So if I want to go faster than that, I might end up lightening it up quite a bit. Let's see. Are you going to make it a manual? So the only issue with the all-wheel drive system and using the 8HP95 is they don't actually have a manual transmission that bolts to the transfer case yet. I probably could go and do like a sequential and then make an adapter, but right now I'm just going to make it 100% auto because it works. It's gonna all bolt together. I could program it through the ECU. It's going to work. It's going to be one of those things where I'd rather have it work for now and then maybe go with a manual option later down the road than, have to fabricate. I'm already fabricating a bunch of stuff right now. I don't want to have to go super crazy and start making adapters and stuff like that. If people don't like the carbon fiber roof, it sounds like expectation versus vision. When are you coming to New Zealand? Suzuki's aren't going to fix themselves. Maybe after all this flight restrictions all settled up between the countries, where I could actually fly places without wearing one of those masks. That's why I've pretty much been driving everywhere. But in the US, it's almost, certain places is almost worth driving. So how I figure it, it's about 4 hours for me to get to the airport, and then from the airport you have to wait maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes, depending on how close you cut the airplane ride. And then, to California, it's another, 2.5 hours. So let's say it's like 6.5 hours and it's 18 hours to get there. At the end of the day, I have my truck when I get there. I have all my stuff. I could bring more stuff. I could pick stuff up. It's just one of those things. I think the airlines are kind of screwing themselves, because people are going to realize how easy it is to just drive around instead of fly. And when you fly somewhere, you actually have your own car. You have all your stuff. You can bring stuff if you want to get something. It's one of those things. I think it's a double-ended sword, and they're just kind of not going to realize it until it's too late, and everybody's just going to be like, well, I'm just going to, it's only like 8 hours. I'm just going to drive. So maybe eventually. I do want to go to New Zealand, so we'll see what's going to happen with that. Are we modless tonight? I don't know what that means. Okay. Have you already test fit the wheels to ensure the offset matches up to the edge of the fender flares? So I did test fit the Trackhawk suspension. I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 months ago. And when I got the lower control arms, I used the burnt upper control arm, and then I got the knuckles. I used the old hubs and bolted everything onto the car. The lower control arm obviously wouldn't bolt to the subframe. And then I put the wheel and the brake and everything on there. And it lines up perfectly with the wide body stuff. It would have been way too wide if it wasn't a wide body, but since it is a wide body, it literally is like the perfect offset. So once it's all said and done and I figure out what wheels I'm going to get, I'm going to have to start looking for Trackhawk wheels, and I want to run like 325s all the way around. So I need to figure out what tires I'm also going to run. And I want to run something that's probably pretty sticky, so this thing hooks and gets up and goes and actually runs some fast times. Let's see. It would just match the whole center of the car, a carbon look. Yeah, I know. I thought about the whole carbon hood thing, but at the end of the day, the aluminum hoods don't weigh very much, and maybe eventually I'll do the carbon hood, but we'll see what happens. VCT is the S14, S15, SR20 version of VVL. See, the issue, okay, I know what you're talking about now. So the issue with the older style, so the SR20 VVL heads, their rockers are actually pinned. So you can't throw a rocker off a VVL head like you can the older SRs. It's a lot better. So you can rev them higher. You don't have to worry about rockers popping off. You don't have to have rocker arm stoppers. It's just a lot nicer. So it is quite a bit of cost to get them, to get a VVL head on an SR20 block, but I pretty much bought a whole engine that was already built, and my friend needed to sell it, so I bought it from him. And it's probably the best thing that, the best, I think I spent 10 grand on it. It's probably the best 10 grand I ever spent, because it was built by the guy that builds Kengushi's engines, his SRs and stuff like that. So it's definitely ready for some power. Patrick, thanks for the $8.99 New Zealand dollars. It's $6 in the US. That's tight. Smash the like button, everyone. Thanks, man. Tell you what, the spliced together metal is impressive. So it's definitely a lot of work. I don't think people realize, because I don't film all the welding and cutting and all that stuff, but it is crazy how much work it is, how time consuming it is. making sure everything fits correctly before you weld it, going over it and over it and over it again, just to make sure everything, you have to think, when I was building the quarter panels and building the upper rails, I had to make sure that the door frames were going to stay the same, all the gaps were going to stay the same, also that the trim that goes onto the door that was going to have enough clearance. The seals need to have enough clearance so they don't, they're not too squished, they're not, too loose. It's just a lot of stuff that you have to think of. You have to think about it ahead of time, and then you have to think about it as you're doing it, because you always continuously have to check it, or then you have to go back and cut it apart, and it's a nightmare after you weld it all. So yeah, it's definitely a long process, and it's getting closer to being finished, so I don't have to really do much metal work, which is very time consuming, and the body work is just very, very quick. So let's see. Are you going to Scary Fast YouTubers call out? You should go in the Hellcat and smoke some boots. I've never even heard of it. Who's hosting it? I know DIY Gang is looking for a crash Trackhawk also for his wife's car he is building. So yeah, we've talked quite a bit, and he's looking for a lot of parts, but I think he's gonna just end up probably buying a car, because that's the easiest way to get all the parts you need. There's just so much stuff that you need to have instead of piecing it all together. That's the reason why I bought the Trackhawk, for all the parts. I didn't want to have to piece together a tranny, a transfer case, and find bolts for it, and then find bolts for this and that and that. It's just a lot easier. So I think he's gonna have to find, unless he finds somebody parting a Trackhawk out and it will sell the whole shebang to him. But I think he'll just end up buying one from the auction and then just kind of going that way, because it might take a little bit longer to find, but it might also take a lot longer to find odds and ends off a Trackhawk, because not very many people part those things out when they get them. Let's see. Have you ever considered doing a resto mod on an old Dodge modern engine inside? I have thought about it. It's just I just have so much stuff going on right now that it's just taking up so much time. So once the Charger is a little bit closer to being done, I'll start thinking about new big projects. But I also have something that I already have been thinking about doing. I want to get a newer truck and do something to it. So that might be taking priority, but we'll see what happens once the Charger gets closer to being complete. Let's see, what did you ever do with your 392 Scat Wagon? So I actually did something with it. I have half a video made. I just need to pretty much go and finish up the video and then edit it. I'm editing the Oklahoma trip video. I don't actually know if I have enough for a video, like a 10-minute video, but we'll see what happens. I'll just pretty much throw it up. It wasn't too eventful, but got some cars for my dad and for my grandpa, and then dropped them off. It was from Oklahoma to Colorado, kind of a long drive, kind of a boring drive, but now that it's all over with, it's kind of nice to be home. In my drive, you mean take a submarine? I wouldn't mind having a submarine. That would be kind of tight. Didn't DIY Gang already build his wife's Trackhawk? He's talking about the Challenger that he's putting together. My 5.7 Magnum is starting to do the Hemi click. It has 130K miles, and I don't have enough money to Scat Pack or Hellcat swap yet. Any thoughts or recommendations? I'm not exactly sure what the Hemi click is, but sounds to me like it has something to do with the lifters. Maybe put new lifters in it, or maybe do like a oil system clean on it. Maybe it'll kind of clear out the lifters, get some of that gunk out of there. Did I just hear a Cummins build? Ford truck with a Cummins engine? No, it's going to be a Ford truck with something in there, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy once I do it. So yes, it's going to be a newer. I'm probably going to stay with the F350, but it's going to be a single rear wheel, and it's it's going to be crazy. If nobody does it before I do it, it's going to be funny. But I need a few different vehicles to make it work. If it ruffles feathers, I'm in. It's going to ruffle some strange feathers. I'm going to tell you that right now. It probably ruffle Chevy's feathers, I think. Let's see. Could I get a sweet deal on that 392? I'm in. Okay. So I actually sold the 392 already. So I sold the whole swap and pretty much got my money back out of the Scat Pack Challenger and just kind of gonna put it into that Hellcat that I'm gonna buy, that parts charger, and then I'll put that Hellcat engine in the old Magnum and just kind of go from there. Maybe I was actually talking to Ronnie. He's like, you could let me drive the Hellcat Magnum, the old one, after I put a Hellcat swap in it, and I could take both cars to race week next year, which would be kind of cool. So the original Magnum would go to race week twice for 2 consecutive years. It'd be a little bit faster, more power. I could put stickier tires on it. I could get maybe all this stuff ready before that happens. And then I could bring the new Magnum and really put some good times down. And I think it'd be kind of cool. So maybe we'll see what happens if I can get both of them hammered out by race week next year, and just kind of go from there. Let's see. Would you recommend hot tanking a head, even a Suzuki head? I would hot tank anything you're going to rebuild. Anything that I rebuild, it goes and gets cleaned, gets hot tanked. If I'm rebuilding an engine or a head, if they have the plugs in the head or the block for the oil passages, I make sure to take those out, because then when you put it in the hot tank, it gets all that clean. And when I pull it out of the hot tank, I pressure wash everything off. And then I use a gun cleaning kit, and you could clean the oil passages really well. And most of the time, when you clean those passages, you get a lot of stuff out of them, and you're just like, I'm glad that I cleaned these. So I've done that to multiple engines, SR20s, KAs, LSs, and some of the SRs that I did, there's like metal and stuff in there. So I was just really happy that I did it, because, and it wasn't even on an engine that spun a bearing. I think it was just residual metal when they made the engines from the factory, and they just, got trapped in there and it never came out. So it's just really good to clean stuff, because you don't want your brand new engine getting smoked because something was in there that you didn't want it to be. How about an F550? I thought about an F450, but if I did an F450, it would probably replace my F350, and then I'll do this new truck and just kind of go from there. Okay. Hi, Dave, from a rainy, windy central coast of Sydney. Hell yeah. Don't say it's a twin turbo LS swap. Twin turbo LS and a Ford truck. I mean, I don't know if it'd make enough torque. Hi, Dave. Hope all is well. Can't wait to see that high build. Keep up the great work. You and me both. I can't wait to see it either. What's a decent price for a totaled Hellcat on Copart or something? Any tips or tricks? So Hellcats usually go, it's in the upper 30s, depending. So the older 15 to almost 17, late 16s, you can get them for like 25, but they usually have a lot of miles on them. They've been, driven probably pretty hard throughout their whole life. You're going to have to do some maintenance. So what I'd recommend is getting a lower mileage one. Something under 10,000 miles is usually where I want to keep, when I get an engine or something like a performance engine out of a car, like a Hellcat or anything like that. Like if I got a Lamborghini or an R8 or any of that, I'd want to get something that had, under, 10,000 miles, because they are driven hard. I don't think R8s or Lamborghinis would be driven as hard, but Hellcats it is a Dodge. People get them to rip them, and you always see them ripping around. So it's a safe bet to stay under 10,000 miles. The 10,000 mile ones usually are in the upper 30s, and it's all the stuff's a lot cleaner. Also, one other thing to think of when you buy a car from the auction is look in the picture. If you see a bunch of parts for the car laying around and you want to buy a car for the interior, don't buy it, because what the auction's going to do is they're going to stuff all those bumpers and radiators and all that crap all over the seats. It's going to ruin the interior. I don't know why they do it. It's just super irritating, but just watch out for that, because that's a really big thing to kind of keep track of. It just sucks because I've been looking for cars for interior, and every one that I see that has all that crap, I'm just like, nope, not doing it. That interior is gonna be all ripped up, especially the leather stuff. It's or the Alcantara. You don't want radiator fluid or tranny fluid or any of that stuff on your Alcantara, because you can't get the smell out and you can't really get it clean ever again. So I would just pay attention to that. Price for total scat pack. So that it depends. The newer ones, you know, they're from the 20s to like the low 20s. Let's see. Hey Dave, just a quick question about steering knuckles. Are the regular 5.7 different than the scat pack and Hellcats to allow bigger wheels in the front? If so, are they easily swapped? Yeah, you could just, so you have to swap. So I really don't know if you could use the original older subframe, but if it's a newer car with a newer subframe, you should be able to just swap the knuckles, because you definitely need the Brembo knuckles or the SRT knuckles to have Brembo calipers and have, you know, the larger wheels and stuff like you said. If my rebuilt 5.7 Magnum engine heats up after a dozen miles and I already burped the radiator and replaced the thermostat, you think I might be the water pump? I mean, it may be the water pump. It at that point, I'd be more thinking that it might be a head gasket issue. I would pressurize the cooling system, pull the spark plugs out, and see if you can hear for air leaking into the cylinders. Isn't that everyone goes twin turbo LS swap? Some people have no imagination. You do know you can't cut down the tempered glass, correct? So I actually talked to a glass company, and they said that they could do it. So he said that they could either grind it or they could cut it. I also know you can water jet glass and it doesn't crack. So I may end up doing that. We'll see what happens. The main window doesn't actually need to be. I just kind of wanted it to be a little bit ground down just so it matched the shape of that window frame just a little bit, because I kind of tweaked it down just a hair. But you know, we'll see what happens. If it breaks, it breaks. I have the glass that's in the doors right now is ruined anyway. So if they grind it down and they break it, I mean, I have to get new glass anyway. So we'll see. Let's see. Are you going to help Kevin's Dodge G-Man that got totaled? I haven't heard from him. Let's see. Water jet is awesome for cutting glass of all types. Thanks. Afternoon, Dave. Been watching your build for a couple months. I'm impressed with your knowledge, but you do know that tempered glass cannot be cut down, correct? I just answered that question, but I guess we'll see. I mean, a lot of people have told me I can't do a bunch of different things throughout the whole time I've been working out on cars. I've heard you can't put that tranny in this, you can't, you know, put that differential in that, you can't put those pistons in this, and it's always worked. So we'll see about the glass. I mean, I'll make a video of it. If it breaks, it breaks. The glass is ruined anyway. I have to get new pieces, so it'd be nice to test on those pieces of glass. But we'll just we'll see what happens. I mean, that's all you can really do is try something out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and then you just move on and try to just continue and figure it out from there. Because if you don't figure it out, then you're just gonna have an issue, and your project's never gonna get done. So. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So Dave knows best. If it doesn't fit, he'll make it fit. Yes, that's the truth. That's funny because somebody just said that when I was back in my trailer, and I thought it was pretty funny. But good attitude. If you don't try anything, will ever be any different. Yeah, I mean, if nobody tried crazy stuff, everybody would be driving the same exact car. There wouldn't be any other manufacturers. It'd just be one manufacturer making a bunch of crappy looking cars. So, I mean, that's the whole thing about the U.S. I mean, and engineering and how we've pretty much evolved throughout the ages with how we've just progressed. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It'll continue. If I break the glass, I'll figure out another way. I'm joining late, so maybe you address this. What's the red car you posted on Instagram? So I'm going to post a video on Monday, but my grandfather gave my dad some cars. So I went and picked them up because he doesn't have a truck. He doesn't have a trailer. Well, he has a truck, but it wouldn't tow a 2-car trailer. And he didn't have a trailer. So it was easier for me to go down there, pick those up. There's also, I think, 2 other cars that have to be picked up and a bunch of other stuff. So that'll probably be later in the summer that I have to go do that. But we'll see what happens. It was a Cutlass that got picked up, but there will be a video. Worst case, cut it out of plate glass or solid glass and then use tint or filtering to make it tempered. I've never tempered glass before. That'd be interesting to make my own glass. Can you shout me out? I'm not sure what it would do, but smarter. Whoa, life waffle. I'm not exactly sure what the last of that is. The entire point of customizing vehicles is to make things people haven't seen before. Hell yeah. Let's see. Could you just put a Dodge 8-speed auto in an older Charger? So you have to put all the electronics to control that 8-speed auto, but they do fit. They fit the tranny tunnel. When I first put my Scat Pack swap in my Magnum, people were like, those trannies don't fit in that tranny tunnel. You have to modify the tranny tunnel. I was like, no, you don't. They just bolt right in. And now everybody does it. So that's another thing. Do you think a Hellcat engine in a Tesla would be a downgrade? It probably accelerate a lot slower. It'd sound a lot better though. Did you get your title issue taken care of while you were there? I did not, because everything is closed down, and it's just one of those things. It sucks, but I wanted to get some title issues taken care of, and the places weren't open. Let's see. This is the whole point of being a car enthusiast, is it not? Knowledge comes from trial and error. Try a different technique. Don't stop till you get it right. I think that's the thing that the car companies have kind of lost throughout hiring all these engineers that don't really know their ass from a hole in the ground, is they don't actually test anything. They build a car and then they'll test it to get crash test ratings and this and that and make sure, it's not going to break down instantly, but they don't try crazy stuff. I mean, Dodge now does crazy stuff, but for the longest time, it seems like they just wanted to pretty much engineer a car, produce it, test it a little bit, throw it out there, and then we're getting all these lame cars. So that's I think some of the car manufacturers, maybe even I think Nissan, Infiniti, I think it almost seems, depending on how the new RX-7 or whatever they're going to call it, RX-9 or whatever it's going to be, we'll see if Mazda lost it. But it seems like a lot of the car companies are kind of on the losing end of building cars. They're building it for a product instead of for kind of a culture. Cars were built because people love to travel across the country, and now it's just pretty much car companies are just building cars to get people to point A to point B. And I don't really think that's really what a lot of people that people that are really into cars, that's not why they buy cars. That's not why I have like 50 cars, is to get me from point A to point B. I just have one. But I think a lot of people throughout the United States, and probably a pretty good population of the world, considering how many people drive cars, they have more than one car because they have, a daily driver, they have a project car, they have this and that and the other thing. But yeah, I like cars. Hell yeah. Does diesel and propane work well together? I mean, you could do propane injection on a diesel. You could also run a diesel engine off of propane or compressed natural gas. So it runs a little bit hotter. So it depends on the piston compression ratio, but you might melt a piston or you might not. It kind of depends. Some Cummins, they work well with compressed natural gas, but some of the other ones need new pistons to actually run both bi-fuel. I have a Ford GT Type. I've been a Dodge tech for over a decade. These engineers are separated too much between the different divisions, so there's not enough communication happening and things. Yeah, that's pretty much the issue with all large corporations. People, they don't talk to each other, and they just design one thing, and they're not designing the whole package. So I think that's the issue when you have communications issues between CAN bus systems, and you have issues with modules going bad and stuff like that. So let's see. It was all about the fuel economy. That's what killed the muscle cars. I think the muscle cars are coming back. I think it's just a cycle. They just go through this stupid cycle. They go through muscle cars, and they go through the green energy fad, and then it's back to muscle cars, green energy fad. It's never gonna end. Everybody's gonna think they can save the environment by driving an electric car, but it's never gonna happen. And eventually they'll be like, oh, muscle cars again. And then in the next 10, 20 years, they'll be like green energy. It's like short-term memory is what it is. Dave, with the modification of the Magnum, do you have to get it engineered for registration? No, not in the US. I mean, I just run it under the title that the car was titled under. Automotive companies are run by sales and marketing people nowadays. The issue with companies is marketing people. Actually, that's not 100% correct. Finance people is the biggest issues companies have. So the Dodge 8-speed auto has its own computer. The computer's in the engine ECU, so you have to use all the wiring. If you're swapping the engine, you just use all that wiring with the engine and the tranny. Have you set a timeline for yourself on finishing certain aspects for the completion of the Charger? So yes, like I've said, I want to get it primed by the end of the week. I want to get the roof started by the next week, and have hopefully most of the way finalized by the end of next week, and then the hatch and so on, and then get the suspension, the subframes finished, and all that stuff. So it's coming along. It's definitely, I have timelines, but they're flexible. I want to get stuff done as fast as I can, but I'm not going to cut a corner to get something done faster than I should. So we'll just keep on working. Do you like the new 400Z? I do like the car. The only thing I don't like about it is the taillights and the headlights. If they changed both of those, I think the car would be fine. And change the name of it, because it doesn't actually match, or put a 4-liter in it. Like every other Nissan name matches the liters of the engine, but let's put a 3-liter in a 400Z. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see. Why not make a Charger with a unique Dodge color and a high horsepower motor? I think that's what I'm already doing. I mean, I don't know if 1,500 horsepower isn't enough power, but I guess it's not. What was my first car? It was a 3-cylinder Suzuki Swift. It was a piece of shit, but it got me around. Howdy, what's up, Tony? I meant like the Charger front and though and keeping the body of the Magnum normal. That's what's going to happen with the old Magnum. Let's see. Did you get the engine for the Wagon yet? So I'm just using a Trackhawk block, boring it out to 426, and that's pretty much what's going to happen. Getting CNC ported heads, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see, the golden area is when the designers are enthusiasts like Japan in the 90s. Yep, I agree with that. Emissions get stricter and stricter every year, though, so eventually large engines are history. See, that's the only issue. So the people that are making emissions regulations, I don't think they understand that we'll never be able to get away from fossil fuels in the next 100 years. In the next 100 years, there is no way we can power the whole power grid. I wouldn't even say we could power 50% of the power grid with clean energy and just shut down all our fossil fuel, coal, nuclear, any of that stuff. There's no way you'd ever be able to use solar, wind, and hydroelectric power to subsidize coal power, nuclear power, any of that stuff. So the people that are making these laws need to come to realization, and I think they're going to figure it out. If I was a coal company, I'd just be like, you know something, you want all these wind turbines, let's shut the coal plant down for a week and see how long, how much of the city they'll run. They won't run anything. They're DC power. Wind turbines are DC, converted to AC and sent to your home. It's very inefficient. DC doesn't travel long distances. That's why the substations are really close to all the wind turbines. And actually, when we're going to Oklahoma, one of the wind turbines was just leaking oil out of the wind turbine, all on the ground, all over the ground. The ground was all covered in black oil from the gearbox. And I was just like, I wonder if this thing's going to catch on fire when we come back. And we couldn't figure out which one it was. So obviously it didn't catch on fire yet, but that's it's not clean energy. There's no such thing as clean energy. Everything's going to have its costs, its emissions, and it's something that I know very well because I was a engineer for a power generation company, and I did do stuff like that. So I'm not going to really get into that, but it's never going to happen. There's no way we're ever going to get away from cars. You can subsidize it. It's really nice that there's cars that are powered by coal power plants and subsidized by solar energy and wind energy, but it's never going to happen. There's no way unless the energy companies go under and they just go with stuff that was made in the 1800s, but then everybody would get free energy. So, and that's never going to happen either. So, because it doesn't make any money. Let's see. I thought the 400Z was a V6 twin turbo. I think it is a turbo, but I think it's like a 3-liter twin turbo. I don't think it's a 4-liter twin turbo, or that thing would be. It's not going to be a 4-liter twin turbo because that would make more power than the GTR. So the 270SX was a Sylvia with a higher powered SR20. The 270SX, I'm pretty sure it had an RB26 in it, or an RB27 or something. That's why it was a 270SX. Pretty sure that's what it was. I can see you doing a 400Z with an RB26. That'd be kind of cool. Even here in Australia, I have a few cars. 80s twin cam Corolla, that's nice. A Ford FGX XR8. I'm not sure if that's the one I'm thinking of. Last of the Fords built in Australia, and a 2012 WRX and an imported Fox Body Mustang. Hell yeah. That's a good collection right there. Let's see. That's why I became a tech, because I realized how far away we are from getting away from gas-powered vehicles. My career is safe. Yeah, it's funny when I think the commercials are hilarious when they're like, we're gonna get rid of fossil fuels. It's like, you are delusional. There's no way. Let's see. I read that 2Js bolt right into Saturn's hold on, 2JZS. I don't know what that is. Running a Saturn Sky Pontiac Solstice could be fun project. Let's see. When they announced the 400Z, I thought for sure it was going to be a 4-liter. Also, big disappointment. Not a fan of the headlights either. Would have been so much better with the 4-liter. I'm pretty sure they make a 4-liter V6. All they would have to do is twin turbo it with high compression. That thing would be a monster. It would be faster, like other than being rear wheel drive, it would be faster than the GTR. The worst part that most people don't get about wind power is that when they use to make the blades, they're not reusable at the end of their life cycle. Yeah, so they have all these carbon fiber blades that you can't get rid of. And the issue they haven't realized in Colorado. So Colorado is pretty harsh environment. So we have a lot of sun. I mean, I'm guessing Arizona and other places like that, but fiberglass and stuff here, if you leave a car with exposed fiberglass outside, if you get overs and just have the gel coat on them, it will literally start peeling the gel coat, and then it'll start splintering the fiberglass. It does it with carbon fiber as well. So if you don't put any UV protection over it, and then it's windy here and there's a lot of sand. So it'll be interesting to see if any of those blades get, bare, then they splinter, then they crack, a blade, loses balance, and then they start coming apart, because they're building like 100 of them pretty close to me. And the environment is pretty harsh. So it'll be interesting to see how long they last, and then what they do when they pretty much start falling apart in the next 10 years. I really doubt they're gonna last 10 years, carbon fiber blades and everything. So how's the paint holding up on the Hellcat after the brake fluid accident? So far it's other than the spots, the noticeable spots all over the back of the car, it hasn't spread, but I still want to blend those. I'm probably just going to paint the whole sides of the car and then the trunk, and then just kind of call it a day. But yeah, it's still pretty noticeable when you look. If you know where to look for it. If you're not looking for it, it's pretty difficult to see the spots. But I know where they're at, so it just bothers me. Let's see. It's a 3-liter with 400 horsepower. See, that's the issue. Nissan's never. I mean, let's see, what cars? I mean, the 370Z. I don't think they make 370 horsepower. So it's not in Nissan's. Whoever decided the name was just like, we need something that's higher than the 370Z, instead of putting a 4-liter in it, which would have been awesome. Agree about the fuel statement? Hell yeah. GTR killer. I mean, if it was a roll race, it's not going to do it from a dig, but a 4-liter twin turbo, it might mess up like stock GTR. I'd say it'd give a good run for its money if it was a 4-liter twin turbo. I mean, you have to think, if it's a 4-liter twin turbo, they were making, so I think Chris Forsberg made a 4-liter, turned his 370Z engine into a 4-liter. They had a bunch of issues with the cylinder liners cracking because they didn't do closed deck sleeves. But I think that engine made like 1,200 horsepower 4-liter twin turbo. So it would give a GTR a run for its money, I'll tell you what. Let's see. That's why they need to hire true gearheads at these automakers. We would make them so much more phaser. I don't know what that means. Faster. Okay. I was like, what? Thoughts on the new Bronco and Hummer? So I don't know. The new Bronco really isn't my style, and neither is the new Hummer, but they are. I think the new Bronco looks cool. It's kind of retro-ish. It looks, it's a newer, older style. A lot of people have been making the older Broncos kind of look newer. So I think it was kind of a good play by Ford to do that. The Hummer, I can't believe they sold all those things out, but they kind of did this thing where they released the first EV truck. So they were just the first. So why wouldn't they sell out of them? Everybody wants an EV truck. They released the first one that's an actual truck with a bed that works, and they sell out of them for, I think they're like 116 or 120 grand a piece, which to me is crazy for, a Hummer, because they've always been pieces of junk. But other than the H1s, but they they made a good call and good marketing decision, and they knew people that had EVs, wanted a truck, and they made the call. And I bet you a lot of people that had Teslas that wanted a truck are going to get rid of their crappy Teslas and get the Hummer, or already pre-ordered them. So even Toyota is known for using engine size. Yep. Love the look of the 400Z. What are your thoughts? I just don't like the headlights or the taillights. I think the taillights would look cool on a different car, but they just don't make sense on that car. So you think graphene battery technology can be like carbon fiber body panels becoming as a battery? See, I don't know if I'd want my body panels to be electrified or to even be a battery, but I think it depends on the storage capacity, because at the end of the day, it's all about storage. So right now we have lithium, they're coming out. I mean, I've heard of the graphene and stuff like that. I thought they were using it for really thin plates for solar panels, but I'm sure it's going to have a huge application. But there's also another, I forgot what else it was they're going to make batteries out of, but it's just one of those things. We need to store power. The more electricity we can actually store, the less effect or less continuous power we're going to need from the grid. So that's the issue. Another issue with the grid is it always has to provide electricity all the time. We have engines running everywhere to provide this electricity. And really, at the end of the day, for how large the country is, how large the world is, we don't have anything to store that electricity. So we're just having these things make power. It's like your engine just idling and never going anywhere. So, or like you driving your car, let's say you drive your car to work and then you just never turn it off, is pretty much what our grid consists of. So I think the more battery backups we do get on the grid, the better it's going to be. But and the better it is going to be for the environment and technology and people, at peak hours and stuff like that. It won't be such a draw on the system. So it'll be interesting to see what the battery backups and the battery technology has coming for us. It's always been a displacement name-based 400Z. What's up from New Mexico? What's going on? Hey, from Alabama. What's up, Tim? What's up, Joe? What's up, Jose? Let's see. I thought graphene still required an insulator / casing. It may need. What's up, Devin Motorcycle Mechanic? Thanks for the $5. Here's a couple of dollars to help support channel. I almost missed it because I'm at work. Well, I mean, I'm glad you're here. It sucks that you're at work, I guess, but I appreciate the donation. It helps out the channel. Every little bit helps. Can I have a shout out? What's up? I already gave you a shout out. I don't know how to say your last name. It's Smarter Wolfie, something like that. You have any extra parts from building the Magnum? I have a lot of extra parts. It just kind of depends what it is. Just DM me on Instagram. Where's those signed pics of the Wagon? I mean, once it's finished, I'll have some. I'll take some nice pics of it, and I could sign them. I think that's the plan, is to have some merch here and there. I think a signed picture, nice, good quality. I'll probably have a photographer with a better camera than I have take a picture and kind of go somewhere and do that. But watch you for a long time. Thanks. Do you like Ford? I do like Fords. I'm first in line. Hell yeah, man. I'll send one out. Just we need to get the car done first. That's the biggest thing. Let's see. Well, it has been an hour, and I need to get some stuff done. I need to get that video edited for tomorrow. So I'm going to end the live stream here. Thanks for tuning into the live stream. Everybody that donated, I appreciate it. Helps out the channel. And, hopefully I can get the Charger and high build primer by the end of the week. That'll get me one step closer to getting all the carbon fiber body panels parts made so I can make the molds and then make the part and then get the car actually painted, which I want to see. That's going to be the ticket for the car. I just can't wait to see it in paint. But everybody, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.